So we've all been there. I make it to the gym and I don't want to be there. I am very tired. The whole session is a drag. It never feels like I get warmed up. I have no motivation. I just slog through the workout, go through the motions, get out, check a box. But it's leaving me with little progress, and I'm finding it hard to stick to my gym routine because I feel like crap and my results are also like crap. Now, a single bad workout isn't something to freak out about, but when this is happening day in, day out, and you're going to the gym weeks on end, and every single time your energy levels or your workout quality is really suffering, this is when we can dig deeper and find some ways to improve our experience in the gym so that we get more out of our workouts, we enjoy our gym routine more, and overall, that's what really matters, right? So this video is going to be going over the main factors that I have identified that may be causing you to feel like your workouts just aren't doing it for you anymore. And I've been in the same position. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to do a full audit of your lifestyle and your program to make sure that you're going to get the most out of your time in the gym. The first point we're going over today is your hydration. I'll throw a few study citations, but science says that when you're dehydrated, working out is harder. I know, groundbreaking, right, guys? We don't need a thesis to tell us that, but intuitively, we understand that when we don't have enough fluids on board to perform the necessary physical activity, it makes that activity much more difficult. And actually, in some of these studies, what they found was you could maintain performance, but the rating of perceived exertion, so how hard the workout felt, was significantly higher for just a 3% decrease in hydration status. Now, I wish there was a stock standard way, like everyone drinks 64.9 ounces of water, and then that would cover everyone's bases, and so we can stick to that every single day. But the reality of it is that everyone has very individual hydration needs, and it even varies from day to day with an individual. So you can imagine someone who spends, let's say, a full Saturday out hiking in the Texas heat, which is where I am, 98 degrees, their hydration status is going to be very different from, let's say, the next day when they go and decide to take it easy and have a Sunday day off. So they spend time either with their family, a lot of time indoors, catching up with the news, watching their favorite show. There's going to be a big difference in water requirements. So without there being a real hard number to give you, I think the best way is to use the pee test. And it's essentially where you look at the color of your urine. And ideally, the clearer it is, the better. This can be taken overboard, but you want it to be very, very light yellow to clear. And that's kind of how you know you're always in that range and checking that box. A lot of people love to focus on hydration during their workout or during any physical activity that they're doing, but they fail to account for actually intentionally hydrating for the other 12 hours or so that they're awake. So make sure that you're focusing on hydration throughout your day. And if you're rehydrating retrospectively, it's already too late, right? You have to be proactive and go into the workout with good hydration status and not try and make up for it during the workout. The second thing that can be causing your workouts to suck is your volume. So certainly, we've all heard the term junk volume, I'm sure, thrown around the internet. And if you haven't, I'll just describe it here for you. Junk volume is essentially the point in a workout to where you are either too fatigued, too mentally checked out, you've been in the gym for too long, your return on investment or your amount of gains you're getting per set has gone down so much that essentially you're just building up fatigue and not really getting much more out of it. So you're making yourself feel more tired, but the amount of muscle growth that you're going to see from that fatigue is a lot lower than what it would have been earlier in the session. So that's deemed junk volume. So certainly if you're doing too much volume during a workout, that can make you tired. That can make your workout suck. And you do that for a long period of time, you may not even be seeing better progress, but your workouts feel really, really hard. So that can be demotivating. So having that audit and that ability to make sure that you're doing the right amount of volume and not slipping into that kind of junk volume territory. Now, conversely, this is something I don't really see talked about all that often, is that too little volume can actually leave you tired as well. So let's look at the example of someone training twice a week compared to someone training 6 days a week. more than likely, that person that's training 6 days a week is going to be much more adapted and ready to exercise. So their body just naturally has a heightened sense of energy. They have more energy availability. They're used to doing higher work outputs. Whereas someone working out just 2 days a week may actually detrain so much in between workouts that every time they're in the gym, they never actually give enough stimulus to adapt. So it's continuously at the same difficulty level, but they're not making progress because they're not providing enough fatigue to adapt overall. This is why I'd recommend a higher frequency with relatively low per session volume. So that way, when you're in the gym, you can really focus on cranking out the sets that you need to do. It's not very many. It's not an extremely long time to be focused and in the zone. And then you build up that habit and you have that constant stimulus throughout the week to keep you at that fitness level that keeps you feeling good and has you with enough energy to go about your day and have just general good experiences in and out of the gym. I'll be honest, I don't really like the term junk volume because with a lot of the literature we have coming out now on higher volume training, it does seem like that regardless of how hard your workouts feel, the more volume that you can do, probably the more muscle growth you're going to get out of it. And overtraining hasn't been observed in any resistance training setting. So you can adapt to a lot more than you're capable of. And I would encourage you, if you've never tried a higher frequency or higher volume program, you might just run that for a little bit and see how you feel. You may feel more tired in the initial weeks, but you'll be surprised at what you can adapt and work up to. And you may actually feel really, really good and having great progress by week 2 or 3. Just some food for thought there. Now, your exercise selection can have a pretty big impact, in my experience, on how a workout feels during and after the workout. And it may actually increase your level of, let's say, anxiety or needed arousal when you're going into the gym. It's easy to fall into the trap of doing exercises that just feel hard for the sake of feeling hard, because lifting is hardcore, bro. And no pain, no gain. So the tougher my workout is, therefore, the more benefit I'm going to get out of it. And this is an unfortunate misconception in the fitness space. So a few examples here. I think low bar squatting, if you really look at it objectively, if your goal is just muscle growth and you're not having to do competition style squats that would probably require you to low bar to lift the most weight, low bar squatting is not a must. But you see it portrayed in a lot of lifting circles as a must-do exercise or else you won't grow any muscle. It's not the case. It feels hard. It's certainly giving you plenty of fatigue for a fair amount of stimulus, but you may be better off doing other exercises that are either more stable, more focused on the body parts that you want to train, and not just being stuck into a one-dimensional exercise that feels like a must-do. Keep in mind, this exercise is something that also requires a lot of mental focus, and so every session, if you go in knowing that you have a heavy back squat session coming up, it may make it tougher mentally to do that week in, week out. So having some variety, providing yourself with the ability to do a movement that's more suited towards your goals and not dichotomizing movements into must do, can't do. If I don't do this, I'm not going to grow muscle. You can also do exercises that are too easy and don't give you a good return on investment for your time in the gym. So this is paradoxical, right? So you can do an exercise that's either so far away from failure or so unstable or has such a poor resistance curve that you're accruing fatigue by doing it, but you're not actually getting any muscle growth stimulus out of it. So an extreme example of this would be if I wanted to grow my legs, let's say, and I decided instead of doing a basic leg training session, I went and did an hour and a half on a stationary bike. I'm fatiguing my legs. I'm doing a lot of work there, but none of that fatigue is contributing towards a muscle growth stimulus. Some exercises in the gym are like that. Any unstable exercise, like a Bosu ball squat, it's really not contributing to your muscle growth stimulus. You're just not providing enough tension because the instability of the movement is limiting your force output. And the same thing applies to not taking an exercise close enough to failure. So if you're doing your bicep curls at 5 RIR, or 5 reps in reserve, if you've never heard that term before, and that basically just means that you're stopping 5 reps short before you can't get the weight up anymore, you're probably not getting a ton of growth stimulus out of that movement, but you are still accumulating fatigue. So it's a very bad return on investment, and you have to find that balance of finding challenging exercises that are effective in targeting the muscles that you want to grow and taking those sufficiently close to failure. I advocate failure training basically all the time, unless it is a free weight movement that may be dangerous. Then you can leave a rep in the tank. But if your goal is muscle growth, I would train to failure and probably beyond. It's just the best way to get the best return on your investment there. This kind of ties back into the barbell back squat example. If a lift is causing you pain, stop it. You don't have to do it. I don't care what they say online, what you've read, what article that says, oh, this is the most optimal exercise. Squatting is also gonna grow your biceps. I've seen that thrown around. It blows my mind that this stuff still gets out there. But you don't have to do it, and you can find ways around it, and that's gonna make your gym routine a lot more sustainable and actually help you push harder and get better results in the long run. Another fairly obvious one, but this is oddly enough neglected probably by the majority, and that is your sleep. With the world we live in now, we have so many ways to entertain ourselves. It can actually make sleep and rest feel boring. And I know a lot of guys that will stay up playing Fortnite, Minecraft, stay up watching the latest Netflix show or what's out on Disney Plus. You're making a trade-off. Just realize that you are in fact making a trade-off for your gains and your gym performance. I would suggest getting 8 hours of sleep minimum. I know sometimes you see the 6 hours thrown around, but when you really dig into it, 8 hours is kind of where you need to be. And some sports training in some circumstances, like football workouts, twice a day workouts, high volume athletes, or just a high volume gym routine, you can see benefits up to 10 hours, sometimes even longer than 10 hours of sleep. So shoot for 8 hours minimum, and just know that if you still choose to indulge or go out with the boys or whatever would keep you from maintaining your normal sleep schedule, that you are making a trade-off and that you're trading gains for short-term enjoyment, which is okay. That's fine. Some people, they go to the gym to enjoy life, and if they weren't doing these other things, life would suck. And so why would they do that? But if you really want to maximize your results, try and maximize your sleep. Of course, your nutrition can play a role in how good you feel during your workout. This one goes out to my keto people. Guys, what are we doing? If you are on a ketogenic diet and you're trying to gain muscle or you have performance goals, you have been misled, my friend. Prioritize your carbohydrates. Carbohydrates will give you the most robust energy for the energy systems that you're using in the gym. It'll ensure that you have topped off glycogen levels, which is what we're looking for to get the most performance out of our workouts. So plenty of carbs, especially around training. If you prioritize carbohydrates around training, this is probably where you're going to get the most effect. Timing, it probably doesn't make a huge difference, but theoretically there is still a benefit to be had there. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you're deciding how to plan out your day and your meal plan around your workout. Now, what also goes hand in hand is getting in plenty of calories. If you're perpetually cutting, which is something I was kind of stuck in, and you can watch my latest video or my last video about bulking or some more of my background on that and how you can get in enough calories, you have to provide enough energy to fuel your workouts and also fuel your muscle recovery in the background from those workouts. So if you're stuck in the cycle of trying to lose weight or staying shredded all the time, you're really limiting the amount of progress and, quite frankly, your quality of life in the gym and out of the gym by staying constantly calorically restricted. Protein is, of course, important too, but probably less important than you've been led to believe. Resistance training provides the majority of the muscle protein synthesis response. And so for me, I'm someone who's eating anywhere from 3,500 to 4,000 calories a day. It really doesn't matter what I do. If I'm getting in that much food and eating like normal food sources, I'm going to hit my minimum protein requirement. And the one that's thrown around the lifting community is actually the maximum protein requirement to maximize muscle growth. And that's around 1 gram per pound of body weight. Realistically, it's probably 0.8 grams per pound of body weight or 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight for my European folks out there. But If you're eating a sufficient amount of calories, that's probably not as big of a deal as you think. But of course, it wouldn't be a bodybuilding video if protein was not discussed. So get your protein in. It's how you build muscle. Amino acids, you need them to build your own amino acids. So consume them. Don't over focus on them, but just know that getting in plenty of protein can't be a bad thing. I know a lot of people like to focus on macros right now, but zooming out, as humans, we eat food sources. We don't eat individual macros. So looking at our food choices around our workout window can actually have a pretty big effect on how we feel during our workout and how we perform. So for example, if I'm going to train in 45 minutes and I have the option between, let's say, 2 pieces of toast with jam on them, or some fruit spread, some sugar stuff, right? Or a big bowl of oatmeal, I'm probably choosing the bread and jam because I like to train with very little in my stomach. I find that if I have a big meal, even if it's calorically equated, in this case, we have 2 carb sources equally equated, but the oats are going to fill me up a lot more and make me feel sluggish and slow throughout my workout. So I like to have something light on my stomach when I'm lifting. And I know some guys that are actually the opposite, where they feel that it's really tough for them to have a good workout if they have any sense of hunger. They like to feel really full. It's got that Kyriakos Grizzly kind of thing. When you have a full stomach, it makes them feel stronger, it helps them perform better. So that's their preference. So experimenting and finding what food sources work for you is crucial in this process, and constantly iterating. And you can always refine your diet to make you perform the best in the gym. And this may actually vary throughout the day. Some people, if they lift early in the morning, they find that they can't stomach that much. But if they lift later in the day, they like to have more food. So it's just personal preference and finding what works for you. Now we come up to some of the really juicy stuff. So enjoyment. This is extremely underrated. If you don't enjoy your workouts, if you're not enjoying your gym routine, if it's not getting you towards, if you're not pursuing a goal that you actually enjoy, which paradoxically, I find a lot of guys in this situation, they're trying to chase like a squat PR, but they're in the gym to get bigger. But their entire goal, their entire gym session starts to revolve around this other goal that's been inserted into their heads from someone else online. So prioritize your enjoyment and understand why you're in the gym first, and that can go a long ways into contributing towards your enjoyment of your training session, because you have a goal that you're actually interested in and a goal that you're legitimately trying to focus on. At the end of the day, you're lifting because you want to do it, because it's a net positive for you. So if going to the gym is becoming a negative, that's going to require some serious self-reflection and finding out what it is that you actually want to get out of the gym. Because too many people never take the time to do this, and this is where you find a lot of burnout in the lifting community, and a lot of people who get that short burst of motivation and they never really have that underlying reason. And so very quickly the gym becomes like a trap. It becomes a place that they have to go to instead of a place that they get to go to and experience and do things that are fun and enjoy the things that they want to do. So what are some practical tips to make the gym more enjoyable? Well, I would pick exercises that bridge the gap between enjoyment and your goals. So we mentioned the back squat earlier, and I was kind of shitting on it for a little bit there. But let's say you're someone out there and you say, "Oh, Ryan, dude, I love the back squat. What are you talking about? What do you mean you don't have to do that? I need to do the back squat." That's great. If you want bigger legs, you can also do a low bar back squat. In fact, I would recommend it. If that's what you get hyped up for and you love being in the gym to squat, that's crucial that you keep that in. I would argue that that is going to be more optimal than having some optimized program on paper that may have exercise selection that's more biased towards muscle growth, loss stability, all the buzzwords out there. But you go in and you're like, but when do I get to load up a barbell? When do I get to put some plates on a bar and stand up and down? Like, that is going to be more important in the long run than having some theoretically optimized routine. Generally, I would preach consistent exercise selection throughout your programming so you can keep track of progress and you're not stuck constantly learning and unlearning movement patterns and having to relearn movements. But if a routine or split is starting to really wear on you, I would switch. It doesn't have to be a major switch. It could even just be switching up the rep range that you're doing exercise in. But just having that little bit of variety, a little bit of flavor, and enhance your enjoyment. And by enhancing your enjoyment, you're actually increasing the amount of effort you put into the workout. And so you're enhancing your results. Here we go. This one has been a game changer for me personally. And it's finding friends in the gym. I know there's this grind set culture of be a lone wolf and I'm an alpha male. I don't need to talk to anybody. I deal with my feelings by lifting iron. But man, going out of my way and intentionally trying to start conversations with people in the gym and learning people's stories and just like asking them what their goals are. You know, hey, what's your workout routine looking like? Hey man, can you help me with this lift? Can you tell me if you think I'm doing something wrong, or if you have a few pointers for me? Even if I don't, even if I get advice and I'm like, it makes no sense, just having that conversation, having that community start to build up, people who are there to push you, they're minded, can go a long ways into changing how you see the gym. It goes from a place of war and dealing with bad feelings, and now it's like I get to go in and encourage people, and I'm gonna have people helping me out. It really reframes what the gym is. And so intentionally finding friends and seeking out people in the gym, even just handing out a compliment. Hey dude, I've been seeing you in here for the past couple weeks. We go here at the same time, and great progress on your arms, bro. Looking crazy. Anything like that can go a long ways into improving your mood and helping you during your workout. And also, when you start to build up a community of people in the gym, it holds you even more accountable, because if someone is always there at the same time, and even if they're not directly like your gym partner and you're not checking in with them to see, hey bro, I'm going to be here at this time, it still keeps you wanting to show up, to essentially show that person that, hey, you're dedicated, and to have that friendship, have that conversation that you're looking forward to. So that's my little rant on being friendly in the gym. I used to be a combination of introverted and arrogant. I would say I would walk in the gym and I would think, no one talk to me, headphones in, I'm locked in, I'm more hardcore than all of y'all. And dude, that was just so immature, man. Such an immature take. The gym is a place where you can make friends. At the end of the day, if there wasn't other people in the world who shared the same goals, I would say lifting is pointless. That lifting is pointless without those other people being there. So find some bros or broettes for my 2% female viewers out there. And just have fun. Just have fun in the gym. Last little tip here for enjoyment is to find a dope playlist. Find a dope playlist, one that's really unique to you. I would recommend it being a set of songs or a genre that you only listen to in the gym, so that when you put that playlist on, it's time to go, and you associate that with the gym. So it kind of gets you in that mood and flips on that switch in your brain to go ahead and say, okay, this is the lifting mode. Let's have a good time. Tear up some weights today. Or some guys that I know like to do it this way. You can raw dog it. You can say no headphones. And some people actually find that it's easier or less like mentally taxing to just not have to worry about scrolling through a playlist and finding songs during their workout. I don't know, it just makes you more aware of what you're doing. Instead of having this constantly sound going in your head that's distracting you, it allows them to focus more than having a playlist going. So if you find a dope playlist, that's awesome. That's personally what I do. I like to listen to music. Sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, I listen to podcasts, guilty pleasure. But you can also have no headphones on, and some people find that's great. So that kind of goes back to inter-individual variation and finding and experimenting for yourself and seeing what works for you. Comparison is the killer of enjoyment. So I would recommend that you stay in your lane. I know guys at my gym, I see him all the time, and I'm like, man, do I even lift? I've been lifting, I've been trying for almost 3 years now, and I'm relatively satisfied with my physique when I look back at my old physique photos and look at my progress now. But then all it takes is one glance at Instagram or look up and catch some guy in the mirror. I'm like, dude, I have so far to go. Why am I even trying? And so stay in your lane. Realize that your progress is exactly that. It's your progress. And comparing yourself to anyone else is not going to help you on your journey. Your goal is to beat yourself, and your goal is to get better for you. Your goal is not to be better than the guy who lives next door, or the dude you see in the gym every day at 8 a.m. The goal is to continually improve upon yourself. And so when you focus on your own progress, it makes it much easier to find the enjoyment and actually find the areas that you have improved on. Instead of just thinking that, I thought I was doing good, but I saw Chris Bumstead this year on stage and I'm half his size. We have to frame our expectations and realize that our journey is more important than the next guy's journey. And that may seem selfish, but that's really what it comes down to. Another factor is being too focused on the outcomes. So even if you're not comparing yourself, if you're still just constantly only looking at your body and measuring your success via, the circumference of your biceps, that still may leave you feeling short and may leave you really struggling to find fulfillment in the gym. So I would recommend focusing on process and iteration and finding enjoyment in the fact that you are honing in your routine for what feels good to you, what you enjoy, and you're finding the things that are unique to you that work for your situation. So constantly iterating and falling in love with the process of learning can go a long ways into increasing your enjoyment and motivation in the gym. So let's go over what I didn't talk about, and this is intentional for a reason here. Number one, supplements are criminally overrated, mind-bogglingly overrated in the fitness industry. Marketing is a bitch when it comes to supplements. They try and make it seem like it's going to revolutionize your physique, when in reality, all it's going to do is make you $60 poorer. The one that I might recommend is creatine, but even then, some people have good responses. Some people don't really respond at all. At least creatine is pretty cheap and it's been extensively studied. Caffeine may help you feel better. Obviously, that's a pretty good way of giving yourself a mood boost. But if you work out anytime afternoon, it's probably getting into your sleep quality. Even if you can go to sleep, caffeine will still have an effect on the quality of that sleep. So as a result, it may actually leave you in a loop of feeling more and more tired. Therefore, you need more caffeine, but you get less quality sleep. So it's a negative feedback loop and not good for anybody there, except for Starbucks. Your hormones. With the emergence of the TRT wave and everyone thinking that the world has a low testosterone epidemic and that men are being feminized and there's microplastics in the water, the blue light is killing your testosterone, soy is making you a woman, all of these things that are just really red herrings to lifestyle aspects that need to be changed. So a lot of this can be covered in your nutrition and your sleep practices and exercise habits, and you can normalize your hormones in most cases that way. And then third here is your genetics. Again, this goes back to staying in your own lane and comparing yourself to you. Only your mindset around your genetics can hold you back, not your genetics themselves. So if you look at yourself and you start, I started off at 120 pounds at 6'2". I easily could have said muscle building genetics aren't in the cards for me, so I'm not going to start at all. And in reality, the thing holding me back there would have just been my mindset. Lifting weights and eating enough food and getting enough sleep can go a hell of a long ways into making your seemingly bad genetics all of a sudden become very good, especially when you add a time component. So doing that for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 3 decades. It's amazing how the further along you get in your lifting journey, the better and better your genetics seem. So don't focus too much on your genetics. In fact, don't focus at all. You can't change them. Only focus on the variables that you can control. You can find a lot more enjoyment in your gym journey by focusing on the things that really move the needle and not getting caught up in some of these side quests that are just leading you astray. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any more recommendations or any other factors that you think can help you feel better in the gym and not have your workouts feel like they suck all the time, well, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Start a few conversations down there with some people. I will see you in that next video.